Waititu on the spot over the 2 billion dubious spending. The governor went on ahead to say that the Kiambu governor, Ferry Waititu, disowned an official county document showing how his government has spent money. On what? Let me just give you an overview of that really quickly. 902 million for the coordination of state functions, which, by the way, Chief Nzioka, Chief of Staff, rather, Waita Nzioka, came out to say that the State House does not share any budgets with the county government of Kiambu. 108 million on the administration of statutory benefits for retired presidents. But if there's one that caught my eye, is this one. 58 million Kenyan shillings was spent on Kenya South Sudan advisory services.
And even the State Corporation Advisory Service, global 591 million, that is a national government function, not a county function.
Right. And that's the thing. Aren't, Philip, all this that he's mentioning all left to State House. I mean, by the time you are sending 58 million or spending 58 million on Kenya South Sudan advisory, then he says that, listen, he shifted gears and became now a blaming game. Yeah. But it's a blaming game at the expense of Kiambu taxpayers.
I'm sorry, but this is so dumb, it's hilarious. I cannot believe this is where we are in terms of, I'm not saying they happened or not because he disowned it, but then he tried to say it's the previous government, but they're the ones who implemented it. So I can leave something here, but that would be something. But if you don't raise alarm and just pick it and continue with it, you're guiltier probably than I am. I don't know, but it just looks like they were just caught. I don't know. It's maybe if we need just go back, even the previous government, county government, all these other governments, we just need now to start looking at it, because I don't understand how, even if it's copy-paste, surely, these are probably people who used to copy in school and still fail, because what's Kiambu doing with Kenya South Sudan advisory services? You know, while the Nairobi, Kiambu advisory services are just in shambles. So I do not know what's going on here. I think we all know what's going on, but I'll not say it. But, you know, I don't know, it's just dumb.
Right. Yeah. But this puts to question, Samira, our politicians in terms of leadership. So you look at this as a young person and you see what is happening, and I'm sure you've seen it on the news as well. Banks, ATMs being robbed left, right and center, and most of them are by young people. But then you look at the sort of people we call our politicians and leaders in the country, and you're left to wonder that it is every man for himself, God for us all.
Yeah. You know, I come in and out of the country fairly often, and every time I speak to people, I mean, it's the cliche, but I speak a lot to the Uber drivers and I ask them, you know, what do you think of what's going on? And this story, no one's surprised. I think everyone's just like, yeah, and it is laughable because, and it's this deja vu kind of thing. This time round, they're denying it. Oh, it wasn't me, it was my political opponents, it was the previous government. I think it's awful because also speaking to young people here, that kind of disappointment and is this what it takes to succeed in this country? Like, will honesty ever get you anywhere? I was just speaking to someone before this who's interning somewhere. She was saying the same thing. She says, you work and you kind of feel like these are the guys that are coming and taking all our money. And sad.
And from a newsroom point of view, here's the sad part, that as journalists, we cover these stories every single week, that it becomes even monotonous. This billion, that million, this county, that person, that now even covering corruption in Kenya has just become a song that we sing, and that's the sad part about it.
Someone once said to me that they think in order to make people forget the previous corruption scandal, they create a new one. So, because you do lose track. I mean, you know, how much debt is this country and how much have people stolen? How do you even remember anymore? Because this is coming up every single day.
Robert, what do you make of it?
It is very disappointing. But I think the onus is on us as journalists to make sure that we dig into the nitty-gritties of this, because he claims that someone put in some fake documents or some documents to prop up this whole report. And for us as Kenyans, we don't know what happened. So the onus is on us as journalists to go through the report, find out where these monies were lost, because as the Auditor General, he's just giving us an idea of what is happening in the county.
Yeah.
But now us as journalists, we need to dig deep in, and find out whether this was actually money that was lost, or as he says, someone just slipped in some papers to the PSC.
Right.
It's interesting what you're saying, because Evelyn M. Casina on Twitter is also saying the same thing. She's saying people are focusing their effort on the wrong thing here. We need the money tracked and refunded. The other sideshows are just that, sideshows. Let's use our voices and platforms to seek refunds. That's what matters. We deal on theatrics a lot. And when we talk about people bringing out their voices, we've seen people call for protest for corruption and nobody shows up. So are people really that tired, or is it the new normal, Philip? Because they see it being covered left, right, and center every other day. It's a new scandal, like Samira is saying. Then when you call them out to come and protest, they're like, ah.
Especially given what's happening on the African continent.
Yes.
We saw it with Sudan and Algeria.
Exactly. So I think it's the new normal, and $1 billion these days just sounds like any other. It's like 1,000 shillings, and you saw that when I think Makueni County built a whole mother and child hospital, and it cost 135 million. And Kenyans were surprised for, wait, no, this is not true, and everything else, because we are so used to even a bridge now costs like $1 billion, and instead of like 10 million shillings. So you saw that where it's fully equipped, it's a 200-bed capacity and everything else. Everything is ready for occupation. It was 135. And even people started showing some of the bridges that have been built in these counties, and they did not cost this. And when you look at this hospital, it's a brilliant, brilliant thing. So I think it's that point where also maybe the few times people have come out, nothing came out of it. So there's that disillusionment. So people don't, sometimes if you try to just keep hitting a wall, at some point you just sit and
just
you're
let
like,
it go.
Yeah, you start now going to the biblical way for God will avenge us. So and once you get there as a country, it's a bad space to be in because nobody seems to be held accountable for this.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, Samira, I'm curious. You cover East Africa as a region.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to corruption specifically, does Kenya stand out if you now put it on a map? I mean, if you look at the other countries, are they just as bad as us, or are we just in our own nutshell?
I'm still here for a few more days, guys. I want to get rid of this. Look. Yeah.
We've scooped that number one position.
And I think, when we're talking about what the media do and don't do and what they should do, it's also tracking what happens next. Does this stuff get to court? Does, the accountability, that would probably help a little bit. But I think corruption is a global, I think it happens everywhere, even in the UK where people are like, oh, in the West, it's like, yeah, just differently. But I think in the region, Kenya is
quite up there.
Yeah. All right.
That grim news, we have to take a break.
We need to take a quick commercial break and make space for the next conversation on Social Square. Today, we want to take a look at new media, even as we mark World Press Freedom Day. Now, get this, according to the Communication Authority of Kenya, it puts the nation, our internet penetration at 112%, translating to about 51 million Kenyans online. Yes, we are about a population of 43 million Kenyans, but you can imagine then how many people like Trevor who have like 3-4 lines and they are all online.
Fake news.
All right. And well, that's the conversation we'll be having. Our Twitter poll question again this morning.
So what is your main source of news and why?
Yeah,
the fake news always comes up a lot. And what is your main source of news and why? We'd like to hear from you. People say they go to Twitter first, or the main news. Hashtag is Daybreak22422. You can call in as well. 0719 777 is our line. At Trevor Mbija, at Citizen TV Kenya, at Zinzi K. We're moving to the Social Square scene, new media space. That's the conversation coming up in just a bit.